Hi guys, Mark's here, Everything Tenere. Well, you saw in the picture what we're gonna talk about today. So we're gonna go and check out and look at the TripleClamp Moto's steering dampener kit. That includes the Scots steering dampener. We're gonna check it out first, all the feature and all the little buttons and knobs, and then we're gonna install it on the bike. So let's start off by checking what you get in the box. So of course you get a installation guide and a steering dampener, Scott steering dampener manual. You got some TripleClamp stickers. It's always nice with some stickers, and some Scott stickers as well. And then of course we have the steering dampener, and we will have a closer look at that one as well. We got the mounting kit or the mounting bracket. So this is TripleClamp's little invention here. So this we put underneath the bar risers, and we have this little thing here that sits around the steering head, and bolts and washers. So that's pretty much it when it comes to what you get in the box. And it wasn't that pricey actually. I think I got a good deal. I saw it on the website. It was 11% discount or something like that, and it was 5,400 or 540 US dollars, and they are usually around maybe 600 and 700 US dollars otherwise. So I checked it 2 days after, and then the steering dampener was selling for 600, so I made a good deal. So let's check out the Scott steering dampener more closely, all the controls. So I'm gonna change the view around so you guys see everything that I'm seeing. So here we go, guys. Now we have a close-up of the steering dampener, and if you guys are like me, you want to do as much research on a product before you purchase it. So that's why I'm showing you all the features and adjustments we have here. So if we start off with the most simple or basic one, we have the base valve here. It has 20 clicks, so fully counterclockwise is least resistance, and then we have 20 clicks to fully closed, and then you cannot move your handlebars at all. So this only controls the resistance when turning your handlebars. This little plastic knob here, the arrow, you can remove this and you can put it how you want. So now it's set to 8 clicks in from fully open. This is the standard setting that Scott says that you should start with. If you find another setting that you like and really want to use, have as your standard, you can see this is turning to the right now. Then you can remove this one, put it so it's turning where it's pointed towards you. So it's easy with your fingers to get in there, maybe adjust a click or two very easily. You don't have to fiddle around with your fingers around the knob itself. So that's the base control or base valve. So this is just the resistance of the movement of the handlebars, right? On the left side here we have the high speed control, and the high speed control is for those very quick hits on your front wheel and rock deflectments. So this will just help you control the movement of the handlebars. So if you turn the handlebar slowly, it will be the same resistance all the time, but if you do it really quickly, it will break it more and give more resistance to that hit, so it will deflect that rock and not turn your handlebars. So that's the high speed adjustment that we have there. This one is adjusted in 1/8 clicks or turns or increments. I'm not really sure how many turns it has, but from fully closed you have 3 revolutions of the screw here that you should not surpass. So you should not unscrew it more than 3 full turns. So you have plenty of adjustments there, right? So that's the high speed adjustment. We have one more adjustment, and it's actually 2 screws, and that's on the side of the dampener here. So you can see that you have a screw here. It has a little hole, but the screw is flat up here on the top. This is the sweep control. So the control here, it controls the distance of the dampening force or the sweep. from the center line, so the center line here, out to either side until it's released, before you don't get any more resistance, and it will be easier to move your handlebar. So it's this angle here out on the sides. And this is something that is really good, because as an off-road rider you might do really tight turns, slow speed turns, you know, turning your bike around. You might not want to have a steering dampener from this angle to fully lock on your handlebar. So this is the sweep control, right? So we have 4 different adjustments. Right now it's set to 12 o'clock, so upwards, or the flat part of the screw up here, it's upwards, and that is 44 degrees. So that means that we have 44 degrees of working dampening right before it releases. You also have, you know, 9 o'clock is 34 degrees, so that's the smallest angle, and 3 o'clock is 54 degrees, and 6 o'clock is 90 degrees, so fully all the way to the steering stop pretty much. That's mostly for road bikes. So for off-road riding, the 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock setting might be the best suited for you, because you're riding quick over, you know, uneven terrain, rocks and stuff like that. When you're riding quick, you're not turning your handlebars a lot, so you don't need to have a 90-degree adjustment. So that's it about the adjustments. Otherwise, underneath here we have a little arm, and this arm is connected with this bracket that sits around the steering stem, and this one is connected up through this slot here. So that's what, you know, controlling the steering or the dampening, right? You have a nice little laser etched logo here on the rear with American flag, and says made in the USA, and also the serial number of this specific unit. So the fit and finish of this and the quality is really top notch, right? When we're looking at the parts that we have here, the mounting kit, so this sits under the bar riser. It actually have cutaways here for, I would guess it's for moisture or water. If you get water here in the cup, it will actually rin off and rin out, so you will not have a puddle there. And this is just clamped together between the top triple clamp and the bar riser of your bike. And the dampener is seated like this on this one. And this one is just clamped around the steering stem cap that we have. If you saw my video regarding removing the steering stem or triple clamp, so you have a metal little cap on top, and this one just sits underneath that one. So let's head out to the garage and install this little sucker, so we can see how it looks and feel out the workings of it with the bike raised on the bike stand. So in the garage, and now we're just going to go through a little bit of the install. To install this, the only thing you actually just need to remove is this bar riser from the triple clamp, or from the top triple clamp here on the steering head. That's the only thing that you have to remove to install it. Of course, it's much easier if the tank is off, but it's not needed. So the thing you will start with first is actually this bracket, mounting bracket that you have down here with this pin that sticks up, and this should sit flush with the cup, the metal cup here. So installing these, you get some M6 bolts, one that are 18 millimeters long and the ones that are 15. So for this little thing, it's actually the 18 long bolts, and I think it's easiest if you put this around your steering stem. So the last part of tightening the bolts, make sure that's even gap here on the slits, and you have to do it with an Allen key, because you cannot get in here when it's stretched out, not with my mine anyways. And it's a 10 Newton meter tightness on these bolts. Next thing would be then to install this one, which sits here, and to do so you would need to add a washer. So with the kit you get 4 washers, and 2 of these washers are supposed to go between the mount and the mounting point or the holes here, so underneath here. Then you have the standard washer that comes up here, you know, on your handlebars, that goes in here. And then we replace the OEM washer that sits with the castle nut underneath with a thin one. So that's how you do it. Thin one, the bracket, the OEM washer for the bar riser, put the bar riser on, and before you put the castle nut on underneath, you put a thin washer as well. So that's what we're gonna do now. I just need to release my little contraption here that holds my handlebars. We'll have a slight issue, you know, to put these here without losing them. I have a little trick here, so I take some grease, put it on here, so the washer will actually stick to the dampeners here that we have built in. I will stick my washer to that. Same thing on this side. Like that. Will be held in place a little bit. And we will do the same thing with the OEM washer that goes on top of the mounting bracket. Put some grease on that. Put it on the bracket. And now we're ready to go. So here I come with my little clamp or my mounting bracket. I will steer the handlebars down like a sniper. So we'll change the camera angle as well. So they are in now. So now I'm just going to add another thin washer to the castle nut that we have from underneath. This one, the 17mm one. I will not film here they are, the thin washer and a 17 castle nut. I will not film putting them in because that will take some time. I need to find my joint for my wrench. And before you put this on, if you like, you can install the steering dampener, because you can see that it's pretty tight there to get the bolts in. So I will actually do that as well. But now you know how this sits, and it's possible to get in there and install the bolts because they're pretty deep down in. So what I was saying is that the bolt here, the 15mm M6, it sits quite far down into this one, so it's not hard to install it. So I installed the dampener rod, and when you install the Scots steering dampener, this is not supposed to sit flush with the arm underneath. Just so you know, if you need to adjust the length for the pin up to the Scots steering dampener, don't start hammering on it, because this is a tight press fit. Use your vise and have a socket. So you insert this into the socket and then put it in your vise, and then, you know, just clamp your vise, and you will adjust the length or move the collar here on the shaft. So I needed to adjust it a little bit so that arm on the Scots steering dampener were, you know, in the middle of this flat surface. So it should not be touching down here, and it should not be too high up. So just so you know. But it should be playing around in the middle here somewhere, or in the top. So I will install this one. I have the screw or screws. I will actually now put it on while we have the riser on and everything, so I will make it harder for myself. And then I will just thread this in. You should put Loctite on the screw, it says. I have not done that. I will do that afterwards, so you don't. And of course I have not tightened my bar risers yet as well, so this is actually too high up, but we can see how it works. And yeah, we have resistance when we're turning. The whole thing is moving a little bit because this is loose, but yeah, very nice. We will test that out. So I will tighten the bar risers and get everything to working condition. I will also then afterwards remove this, but right now this feels really good. It's not loose and goosey. It actually has some resistance here to it. I will turn this up more. Yeah, I can feel it. It gets stiffer for sure, and then it gets lighter in the end. Now it got lighter, so you know it's working those 44 degrees that we have set. So that's it, guys. That's how you install a TripleClamp Moto Scots steering dampener with the mounting kit. And for me it's super easy, but I advise you take off the tank because it's really tricky otherwise to get this this mount in place. But everything else is really easy. So if you can find a good deal, get one. I think your off-ride experience will be much improved, or just gravel roads and rocky terrain. I will not be able to test this out until next year, unfortunately, but yeah, that's how life is. But I hope you enjoyed this little video and my description about all the features and stuff we have on the TripleClamp Moto Scots steering dampener kit. So stay safe out there, take care, and don't do anything stupid. Cheerios, bye bye.